Pop in, say hi. If you've never come into one of my lives before, hi, I'm Cindy. I explore the inside and the outside, and I am grateful to be here. And I'm looking forward to seeing who pops in. When you do pop in, let me know how everything is working out. This was a little bit of, I'm going to call it a challenge because that's what it is. When things don't go well for us, when things break down on us, usually it's us that break down. But we like to blame it on other things, don't we? We kind of tend to want to throw our hands up in the air, give up, go to the beach, go to the bar and have a beer, grab the remote control, go lay on the couch, and woisy me, right? Woisy me. But I've learned through my experience, this is something I've done my entire life. I don't know if it was something my father did or if it was in my childhood experiences and just wanting to survive, right? Just to keep going on. Hello, loud and clear. Thank you, Tammy, for letting me know it was a challenge. I was actually up till 1 o'clock in the morning last night. I must have gone live privately at least a dozen times trying to figure out what I wasn't getting right. I changed my whole system up. Actually, it was just accidentally hitting a button. Wasn't accidentally. I trust Google, right? I trust YouTube. And when they suggest things to me, it's my responsibility and my choices to make a choice. But we know when we make a choice, there's going to be an action in that. And in that action, I found I was in a totally different space. Oh my goodness. I was excited for change because I knew I had done the right thing. But at the same time, there was a lot of work to do in that move that I did to make sure that all my favorite extensions and apps and everything kind of came along for the ride, right? I think I'm basically set up. There's a few extensions that I'd like to bring back on board out of loyalty. Number one, one of those apps that I use is Grammarly. But I know with technology, right? Google does a pretty good job. And I really haven't given Google a fair shot because I'm so in love with Grammarly, right? They are on it every time I make a grammar error or a spelling error. I still use it on my phone because it's so amazing, right? I'm not as smart as my writing presents me as, and in my research and in my Googling and stuff, that, it's important that I get the message across. And I tell you, I did a little bit of Googling. I asked almost everybody, right, for a little bit advice when it came to the technology. I think even TubeBuddy, I was sending them my problems to see if they would help me out. There was no reply from them. But oh my goodness, Gemini, so many suggestions and good suggestions too. The one suggestion that it happened to be the problem wasn't one of the suggestions, right? Even though I went in, and this is the great thing about this problem that I had, and Tammy knows what it was. And thank you, Tammy, for letting me know that I had no sound yesterday. I'm yapping away, right? Getting into my live, and it was a good live in the beginning of it anyway. I thought I was flowing into something amazing, and then I caught Tammy's message. Thank God I've got her as a moderator so she stands out like a sore thumb. And yeah, she sticks emojis and stuff in there to get my attention because she knows once I'm in it, I'm in it. But thank you again very much, Tammy. I really appreciate you 100% for being with me here. And yeah, she let me know I had no sound. I'd already been in it for like 10 minutes, I think, before I finally caught on to the messages. You were reading my lips. You were reading. Were you doing a good job, Tammy? Were you good doing a good job? I really did try to come back in numerous times, but then I figured, you know what? I don't want my YouTube, right, to be dragged along in the mess. So I just left my lives in private mode so that I could just mess around and figure out the problem on my own. 1 o'clock rolled around, and I'm usually looking at the clock, ready to go to bed at 11 o'clock at night. I might do a little bit of burping during my live. I didn't think until after I had chowed down. I took a big handful of sunflower seeds, right? And as my last meal, I have little snacks that I'm allowed to have after 8 o'clock. I don't mean to go down a side branch, but it's happening anyway. One of them is applesauce. The other one is my sunflower seeds that I roast myself, and they're so delicious, but they're so good for you too. And then, of course, I eat my vitamins before I go to bed too. And if I felt like a piece of celery or something like that, I would do that too. But I know sometimes when I eat, right before my live, I'm kind of doing the burp thing like I'm a truck driver or something. So forgive me ahead of time if it bothers you, right? And but anyway, so when I got up this morning after the most amazing sleep and physically feeling absolutely amazing, I made myself a cup of coffee and I got right back into the problem. It took me up until noon this afternoon to figure out what I had gotten wrong. But in that process of being in my Google settings and being in my YouTube settings and being in my Windows settings all day, I made quite a few changes that I didn't know that was going to be necessary or beneficial at the very least. So I learned a lot in that little bit of a hairy scary. I'm not going to say that I knew I would figure it out. I know only because, right, I push back at what pushes me in every single one of my problems that has ever come up in my life. And again, I'm not sure if it was something that my father instilled in me or if it was from the traumas, right? That I knew that I wouldn't survive if I just didn't get up and brush my knees off and try again. And to be honest, in saying that one sentence, I have to give that credit to my mother, right? Because she was the one, if I skinned my knee, she wasn't running over to kiss the boo boo or anything. She was there to grab me by the back of the neck and haul me off the ground and kick me in the butt and say, get moving, try again, right? But I do give my mother, I recognize that now. I have to give my mother that credit. Hello, Kathy. Hello, Kathy. We're just saying I switched my whole channel over. Prairie Dodgers, it's its own Chrome feature all the way across. I'm pretty excited about it. And it's going to take me some time. I'm still playing around. And like I said, I still haven't gotten my Grammarly back yet. I want to bring it back out of loyalty because they've been so good to me. They've right? Absolutely amazing. But I think, in my loyalties also, right? I am a Google girl through and through, and they're not just going to let me ride the waves to success. No, they're not. If I want to succeed in what I'm doing, then I am going to have to put the work in. And when I say put the work in, and a lot of that work is just fumbling, it is just in the repetitiveness of being consistent, making mistakes, and trying again. And that's what I did today. And here I am. Here I am. I am so happy and thrilled to be here tonight. I wasn't in last night, so we didn't have a live show last night. And, that is disappointing. But I think it was for a good reason. And it wasn't something I had any control over because I was here. I was willing. I just wasn't able. I just wasn't able, but I didn't give up in trying, and that's the truth. Thank you. Thank you, Kathy, for popping in. I so appreciate you. Oh my goodness, I haven't seen you for a little while. I hope your life is treating you okay. Every time I don't see you for a little while, I actually thought of you yesterday, Kathy, sending you a little bit of good cheer. Whatever's going on in your life, I hope it's good, or at the very least, it's starting to settle down a little bit. Aw, thank you. Thank you, Kathy. I appreciate that. Aw, you're very sweet. Yeah, but if it wasn't for Tammy yesterday, I would have done my entire live. And you guys know when I do my lives, they're like over an hour long on the norm. And I would have yabbered it away. And how heartbroken would I have been, right? When I went back into my live, because you guys know that I go in and I take the lessons for myself. And I would I have been decimated by it? No, I wouldn't have. I would have been disappointed. I might have felt a little bit of the fool, but it wouldn't have been the first time that I felt the fool. And I think, in that opportunity to resolve the problem, I actually feel pretty proud of myself. I feel pretty proud of myself that I didn't give up, that I found a way. And here I am. And I hope in my brand now being switched over to its own Chrome status, that maybe some of those issues that I knew from pushing buttons and wrong accounts and that things got a little bit tangled. But that's the idea. You guys always hear me say we're here to untangle those wires in our lives, right? Right? We're here to untangle. That's evolution. Oh my goodness. And to talk about evolution, my brother in law, Tom, absolute sweetheart. I'm so in love with this guy. Right? Not in love with this guy, but I'm in love with this guy for what he brings into my sister's life, right? And he represents really well. And he moves in evolution a little bit, but he's more in the idea. He spends a lot of time in the topics of saving the world, not just in extinction and stuff, but he's looking to do really, really good. And when he comes across great information, he shares it on his platform, and he has a pretty good following on his platform too. It's a mix of stuff, right? His insights. He's in a rock band, and he shares his content in his band. And yeah, and he's a loving boyfriend for my sister, and he's very attentive to her and stuff. And you guys know my sisters have control, right, in their systems. And so, right, my sister loves to run the show, and she found a man that's equal to her mentality, to her heart. And they are a good match together, and they keep each other kind of sorted, right? And they allow each other to live their own lives. And they've been together for a long time. And we are all always saying to them, why aren't you guys getting married? Why aren't you at the very least living together? Because they have their own separate lives. And my sister loves the life that she created herself. He loves the life that he has created for himself. And they love the life that they've created together. And it's pretty amazing. But he posted this post today about how we have lost 7 species of the bumblebee. We've lost 7 species. And the fear is if we lose any more, we are going to lose certain vegetables and fruits that we have come to appreciate, like the avocado and the strawberry. And there was something else. Avocado. Oh, coffee. The coffee beans. Oh, my goodness. That's a big one, especially for me. Let me have a cup of my tea. I usually try to end the night with tea rather than coffee. And because I was at work on the computer today, I went through quite a bit of coffee, but I got some things done around the house too. But they said that it's going to be bad on the ecosystem, and that animals are going to go extinct because there are a lot of animals that rely on the pollination of the bumblebees. And not only that, in food sourcing, it's going to become a very big problem too, right? And it's pretty amazing. He comes out with some pretty good information. I always find his posts very, very interesting. But yeah, I don't know why I was reaching that. Well, oh, right. Kind of some of the topics I was in today because there was a little bit of celebration after I was in the computer doing work all night last night and then all day today. I needed a break. I needed not brainless stuff, but I needed something outside of settings to be working or appreciating. And there's a gentleman, I still got him up here, Anton Petrov. He's a gentleman that I subscribe to. He's a biologist. He's a real big smarty pants. He's really, really big. And I was in his channel yesterday, and yesterday he had posted um, about the what was it? Oh, the mice, the cloned mice, right? And how it didn't work. Cloning does not work. In the beginning, it does, but it's like that family in the Appalachians there. Oh, I can't remember their names, but they were all inbred and they all have significant problems now. But in cloning, they clone into another modern animal that's similar to them, and it works, right? And it works very, very well. And you can clone animals, but eventually, those cloned animals, their DNA and their genes break down. And I think they did a study, it was like a 25-year study on these mice that they cloned. And they had over 12,000 mice or something. And they can't keep any of the mice alive anymore because of the breakdown of the genetics because of the cloning, right? So it made me think right away, what about those mammoths, the very last mammoths? They got trapped on Wrangler Island. It's an island off of the coast of Siberia. And there were only 8 mammoths and they got stuck. There was flooding. I can't remember what it was. The ice broke up or something, and they were isolated on this island, the 8 of them, and they were able to build up their what do you call their herd, I guess. They built up their herd and they would have broken up because they chased the males off. So they would have broken off and started other herds on the island. But they built it up to 600 mammoths out of those 8 pairs of viable mammoths. But they were all inbreeding with them. And those mammoths lasted another 6,000 years isolated on that island. Now they said that they thought once the right Homo sapiens found them on the island, because there were no more mammoths on the continent because they all got eaten, right? That they thought that because the Homo sapiens found them on Wrangler Island, that they ate them. But these mammoths are just like their bones and their tusks and stuff. They're still being found all over their place, and they're just lying in strange places, not places where they would cut the meat up, and there's no fire pits or anything like that. And so it made me start to think, did the same thing happen to those mammoths as what happened to those mice that got cloned? Right? Found it very, very interesting. Very, very interesting indeed. But this is what I do to entertain myself. Hello, Earl. How's Earl doing tonight? Aw. Oh, is that ever sweet, Kathy, that you say that? That I'm a part of your life. That's so sweet. Oh my goodness. And you're mine too, right? Oh my goodness. Earl says, hello, groupies. Groupers, groupers, groupers and troopers. Oh, talk about troopers. I don't know if nah, it's not worth mentioning. Just another character that I follow online, but he was in high up in the military and stuff. So he has some interesting content going on right now. Oh my goodness, Artemis this year or today, right? Splashing down. Wasn't that pretty incredible? I remember in 1967. Oh, I'm going to just trail off to what Tammy said here. I wonder how the cloning of humans will end up. Well, Tammy, whoever, whatever, God is very creative in that. Very, very creative. And also, haven't we given ourselves a little bit of a running start in that in the past, let's say 50 years, right? With the diversity that has been entered into the humans, right? Just by intermingling and having babies with different cultures, that we're just all bringing in such a mix. That's going to tie us over for quite a while. But in the meantime, there are plans in store. And yes, cloning is right something that will be viable. I mean, they're bringing back our favorite pups and our favorite cats. People do that, right? And by cloning, but they won't be able to do that forever. And I don't think it would happen forever, because it would only be for that person's lifetime. Now, it's not like, right, their kids are going to want it. Well, I guess maybe if they got attached to the cloned pets, it could happen. But yeah, it's right. I wouldn't even worry about that in the cloning. They are working to make sure that we are not going to go extinct. I'm pretty optimistic. I'm pretty optimistic, and it's not to say that everybody is going to make it, but it's in our choices. And that's what evolution is, just in my struggle, because we are in the age of technology and AI learning, and right? And we have to move with that. And not only do we have to move with that, there's an opportunity for people who never thought that there was an opportunity for them, right? That, right? This showed up. This age of AI learning has shown up now for a reason. And it's one of the lifelines, right? It was a lifeline for me because I don't think, oh, I know I wouldn't have made the movement that I made in my life if it hadn't been for being on Google, being a YouTuber, right? Being frustrated and learning how to use my my phone, right? But it's the idea that you never give up. Like never give up, right? We made it now. We are here, each and every single one of us. We are here right in this moment because somebody 100,000 years ago had a baby, right? We all come from one mitochondria. Oh, there's no, we don't come from one mitochondria, but there's very few different mitochondrias out there. But they've proven it already that they found the very first set of mitochondria out there in placement, right? So there is more to be had out there. Mitochondria, guys, is are the genes that are passed down only from mother to daughter. And thank goodness our bloodline is still going to be rolling around because, right, my mom and dad only had girls, right? That mitochondria got passed. And I have a niece who had a daughter, and that daughter has got two daughters now, right? So that mitochondria is moving along, and not to think, right? But I believe that there was a special mix going on with my mom and dad being at the opposite ends of the spectrum, right? That there was a little bit of diversity going on there. That diversity is just not in our nervous system. It's in our genes, it's in our bloodstream, it's floating around, right? And sometimes we connect again with the same kind, and sometimes we don't. But there's more chance of it now because wow, we are very diversified, right? That even in the Indian culture, where the parents choose the wives for their sons, right? They're now allowing their sons to maybe not choose, right? The parents are still saying it was their choice, but they're listening to the input of their children, and they want their children to have good productive marriages. And so they're listening to the input, and they're choosing what their children would like to choose. And that's pretty amazing too. There's so much change going on. We look at the world out there and we go, oh my goodness, it's so crappy, right? That nothing is going to get better, but things are changing all the time. Even within ourselves, we are constantly changing. But the idea is in that change, and because we're human and have free choice, right? That we should be making choices and making movement in those choices because that's how we will stay alive, right? And posts like my brother-in-law who put it out and remind people like there are species out there that are getting wiped off the face of the earth, that we're never going to see them again, right? And yes, they may be able to clone them for a little while, but after a little while, those genes are going to break down, and again they will be gone, right? And the same thing, yes, it could happen to us, but I am optimistic that we are on it now, and especially when we share so much information, and not just share with information between each of us, but every conversation I have here online, right? Google's listening, AI learning, the bots, they're listening and they're learning at the same time. And it's why I enjoy sharing a lot of the stuff that I come across, is because, well, it's just more information for down the road. And who's to say what happens down the road, right? Yeah, so yay. Yeah, I was watching Artemis and live before I got on your live here, Cindy, tonight. It was interesting and exciting to see how this space shuttle mission went, and the entire journey from start to finish. I was really impressed with how similar the come home was, um, yesterday or today, um, than it was in 1967. And I was going to say, I remember getting up early, early. I was like, oh, it was so early. I think it was still dark outside. My dad woke all us kids up, and I guess my mom had made a special breakfast, and they made a big deal. My dad loves space, right? He They made a big deal of this, and it wasn't anything I was interested in. I just wanted to go back to bed, but we sat, we watched it, and we rooted them on when they landed and stuff. But I remember that day in 1967 when they splashed down, and to think it was so similar in this splashdown with Artemis, right? It was kind of crazy, but interesting how they didn't actually step foot on the moon. Wasn't that interesting? I thought for sure that would have been absolutely spectacular if they had gotten on their space shoots and jumped on the moon and did a little walk around. First step for mankind. Well, they'd have to say second step for mankind. Right? Yeah, so it was super interesting, right? And it's absolutely incredible how far we have come. Oh my goodness. Right? We were excited for flushing toilets. And look how far we've come. Even on our phones, right? Even on our phones, we have the same capability in technology as they did when they put man on the moon the first time in 1967. And the everyday man, right, has it in their palm of their hand. Absolutely incredible. But it is going to be in our choices. And I think we have some great opportunities now to make some amazing choices, and to be able to really choose for ourselves who we want to watch. Who do we want to learn from? Right? I could have been in reruns of The Voice, or, right, America's Got Talent. But no, I went in to watch Anton Petrov and his biology presentation. And I learned by that. I learned quite a bit. It got my brain stirring, while I ended up at, right, because yesterday I spent a lot of time in my new Chrome settings, and then today too, right up until noon, I was hard at work. I was so you guys should have seen me. I should have saved that little clip that I did. I was so excited when I hit it. When I got that sound back up and running, it was absolutely thrilling. It made my whole day. But also at the same time, I've been switching out my winter closet with my spring closet because the snow is almost gone. Just a little bit of compact stuff on the boulevard and in some of the yards, but the snow is almost gone. It was a beautiful day today. It got to +9 Celsius outside. I didn't go outside, right? But I had work to do. I had things to do. And then after all that computer work, I just wanted to space out on my computer, right? Doing Cindy things, not Cindy things. And then I said, well, I had pulled so many of my spring clothes, they were all wrinkly from being put away for the winter, that I rewashed them all, got all the wrinkles out of them. I have a beautiful closet. I have a beautiful bedroom shelf closet, all clean and organized. And then all my donation bags are ready. My clothes that I pulled for my sister Tracy because she's lost a lot of weight in the past few years, like so much. And I'm so grateful that she's gained a few pounds. So she's looking much healthier now. But she needs clothes desperately. And I had lots of beautiful clothes, right? And I know that these outfits that I picked for her, she'll really like most of them. And I found her another bathing suit. She didn't like the first bathing suit that I gave to her. It showed too much. So I got another one. And then this other one she can just wear a pair of shorts with. So I think she'll probably like it a lot more. And yeah, and then I got some garage sale stuff put away. And like I said, my donation bags. And then I did laundry out the yin yang today. And then I folded it and I put it away and hung it all up. And then I said, oh, I got to do my winter coats and my winter gear too, because I'm going to be doing my hall closet tomorrow. And then I think I want to put my window air conditioner in so that when it does get hot, all I have to do is push a button and not make it a big project in setting up. And it is a little bit of setting up, but I bought my packing tape. I always like to use packing tape because I still like to use my window as a window. So, and you can see through the packing tape. I do a really good job. I don't lose any warmth. I don't lose any of the air conditioning, and I've never had any problems at all. And I've done it so many times every year. I get better, better and better at it. Okay, you guys. Yeah, so I thought that was pretty interesting, that post that my brother-in-law set out there. And like I said, I'm so glad he's part of our family now. Like I have two brother-in-laws that just they just belong to us, right? They're just so perfect in our family. And we're grateful to have them, right? And it's a good mix of diversity. Uh yeah, I got one niece from my brother-in-law Ian and my sister Carolyn, and Tom. He's got no blood in my family, but you know what? That's not to say next time around, right? Next time around, they because they found each other now, they'll find each other in the next life, and they'll be right back together because they love each other a lot, and they'll just magnetize right back together instantly, right? And then they'll have hopefully lots and lots of kids because I don't want, right? We can't just leave it in my niece's hands to make sure that that bloodline is moving along, right? I also have a nephew. I don't know if he'll get married, possibly, right? But then again, I'm not sure if it would make a difference, only for the fact that, right, the mitochondria is passed down from mother and daughter, not from father father to son. They just get those genes. My nephew has some great genes. Like he has some amazing genes. He should pass them along, but that's not my choice, right? I only have control over my own actions, my own thoughts, and my own emotions. And it can be thrilling to see people make the movement, but it's also heartbreaking when you see people not making the movement, right? And then there are people who are making the movement, but they're not knowing that they're making the movement. And sometimes that's a little sad at the same time, right? I am grateful, right, for not giving up. And I only don't give up because in my own life, so many times I have pushed back at what pushes me, and it always breaks. It's painful. It's frustrating. It's nerve wracking, right? But it's meant to be, right? Because evolution is making sure that the strongest survive, right? Like I said, we made it this far. Each one of us made it this far, right? And I think in this moment, this is a new beginning for all of us, right? This is a new beginning for all of us because nobody knew the digital age was coming. Nobody knew about AI learning because if they did, they wouldn't have pulled the poop that they did, right? Right? Nobody gets away with anything. And I don't think a lot of these characters are that unintelligent to miss that one. And yeah, so I think this is actually a new beginning for all of us if we choose it to be. Um, okay, so you guys, it's celebration. It's never giving up, you guys. Never give up, no matter what. I know everybody struggles, right? We all have heartbreaks and grief come into our lives. Sometimes we have betrayal come into our lives. Sometimes we have disease, right? Just passed down from one lifetime to another. And it's not because, right? People think, "Oh, what did I do so bad that I have these issues, you know?" That's not the case. Like the human is contributing just as much as they get free choice, right? As much as we're partnered with ourselves, right? The humans are contributing to that mix too. Just like that. Oh, I wish I could remember. I'm going to just Google here and see if I can find it quickly. The Whittakers in the Appalachians. That was right. It was a barely right. If you guys, I don't know if any of you watch Soft White Underbelly. It's heavy. It's heavy. It's really going in and seeing where people struggle and what life has dished out for some really amazing souls. Like you can see the souls in these people, and yet they've just been beat to the ground. And I've watched a lot of this gentleman's interviews in Soft White Underbelly, but he did do a documentary on the Whittakers and, you know, those diseases and those issues they have, right? Those are hereditary things. It's just like my sister getting the congenital heart disease, right? She didn't do anything bad to get that disease. That was from my dad. It was just passed down in my dad's genes. My sister Alice and her arthritis, right? That comes from my mom's side. I have no idea why I didn't get any of that. Right? I have no idea. I am grateful, grateful, grateful for my good health. I believe that decision to have a gastric bypass when I was 27 years old and having my duodenum cut off, and the duodenum is what processes sugar, that probably stopped me from getting diabetes, making that decision to do that operation. But again, right, I have pretty good health, and there's lots of things I contribute it to, right? I've been on vitamins and minerals my entire life. So even if I didn't eat well, I took my vitamins and I took my minerals. Being 311 pounds, I didn't let the gym teachers or my parents tell me that I had to go jogging, because there's nothing worse than high impact exercise on the bones. And yes, I've got dense bones from being very, very overweight. I was 311 pounds at one point, right? And so I have dead bones, but those dense bones serve me so well in my old age, right? I'm not going to be a walker lady, and no offense to the walker ladies, right? I'm grateful for my good health, but I recognize that there are people out there who struggle and have to use walkers and wheelchairs, or might not even be able to get out of bed. So that is a reflection to me to be grateful for my good health, right? For as long as it lasts, right? Maybe it'll last right till I'm 114, which is my goal age, right? Okay, you guys, let's get into a card. Maybe it's pertinent to the conversation we had tonight. As usual, we were all over the place, right? But yeah, I was pretty excited about getting this live show all sorted, all sorted out, all sorted out. It's done, you guys. And it was a switcheroo from hell. But I did it. I did it, right? And yeah, so we'll move forward and we'll see what the next pushback is. But these successes in pushing back and then having it break somewheres along the line so that I can overcome whatever I need to overcome, or learn whatever I need to learn, right? That's the evidence to me. That's my evidence that it can be done, right? And that feeds me. So when the next problem arises, when the next heartbreak rises, when the next set of grief hits me, right, that I'm going to be able to manage okay. Maybe not perfectly, right? Maybe one day perfectly, right? Because I am steadfast in my movement, and that's a truth. But that's only because there are so many examples out there, right? So many bits of proof out there that it can be done. Yeah. Okay, let's quickly come into the comments here for 1 minute and then we'll grab a card. Celebration, Cindy and Kathy and Earl and all the others here. I have been listening to you. So I haven't talked a lot the last 15 minutes or so, Cindy. My eyes and ears are on you and listening. Oh my goodness, sending you some good cheer. That sounds a little bit of a weary, tired comment to me. That's what I'm feeling in that. But yeah, relax, enjoy. And you guys know, right, that I'm the yapper here. So if you want to just stay in the background and listen, I'm good with that. If you want to come in and chit chat, I'm good with that too. I'm just happy for the company, right? I'm happy for the company, and I'm happy in the celebration, right, that I'm having right now and getting back up and running. I wasn't here last night for the first time, and I don't know how long I wasn't here. But I don't feel bad in that. Oh, and on top of that, I got my end live button back. So I'm pretty excited about that too. And yeah, so lots of good things came out of this faux pas, right? And in the end, it worked out a lot better, right? Than I hoped it would. And I'm grateful how it worked out. Okay. Uh Oh, beautiful. Yes, definitely. Just sit back and listen. Let's grab, don't listen, watch for 1 second to see what card we pull. Oh my goodness. I don't know if you were in here last week. We got this word companionship 5 times in a week. Well, 4 times. We got it 4 times, but the fifth time was my own intention. I says, "Oh, it's come up too much. We're going to delve into it deeper." And we went into it and just talked about that companionship with ourselves, right? And yeah, so that was kind of crazy. So I tend to make sure my hands are way up high because it's in the patterning that I get my lessons too, right? Okay, you guys, here we go. I'm going to pull this card. Influence. Influence is the evidence that brings about change. What was I just talking about? The evidence, the example out there where I get my lessons, the evidence that it can be done if you just push back at what's pushing you, right? Just say, no, I'm not going into that state. No, I'm not giving up. No, I'm not telling you are letting you make me do something I don't want to do. Right? Right? That evidence in that pushback, in the successes, the small successes, just the small things that you accomplish, right? Like how I'm going to feel tomorrow. I'm going to get a couple of listings done tomorrow. I'm going to clean my winter hall closet tomorrow, right? Then it's all done. It's all spring and summer. Oh my goodness. And I'm talk about that too. Hello, Earl. um, I lost my train of thought there. Okay, so let's get back into this. Influence is the evidence that brings about change, right? We're supposed to be the example for each other that it can be done. In the beginning, I was just that example to myself, right? I didn't have anybody rooting me on. I didn't have people in my live shows, especially in these deep talks and stuff. I didn't have anybody here. I was my own example. I was mirroring back to myself and cheering myself on. And after a while, right? I got to be that perfect mirror to myself. And I saw the evidence in my accomplishments that I was actually influencing myself. And you guys know I talk about self parenting all the time. And that's what it is sometimes because nobody's cheering you on, right? Your parents think they've done their job already. I don't understand. Sometimes there's a little bit of course correcting to be done, right? That sometimes we have our own perspectives, and sometimes, right, we've seen the evidence in other relationships, we've seen the evidence in the experiences and the experimenting, right, that it can be done, right? And it brings about change and it brings about change in ourselves. It changes the way we think. And when we change the way we think, we change in our actions, right? We quite often even will change the direction that we're going in. Oh my goodness, I have pivoted so many times in my lifetime. Make your head spin. But that's okay. A little bit of head spinning won't hurt you, right? And you're just gonna spin away for a little bit and then you're just going to try again, right? You're going to be that evidence for yourself that it can be done, right? That you can change. or you're going to be that evidence that somebody recognizes and goes, oh my goodness, she did it. Maybe I can too. Okay, you guys, that's my good cheer. I'm going to have my tea and watch something frivolous. Maybe a little bit of Sandback. I never got any of his content in today. My favorite narcissist. Okay, you guys, you have a great night, and we will see them. Oh no, we won't see tomorrow. Tomorrow is a day off. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna go for a walk tomorrow. I'm going for a walk tomorrow. That's what I'm going to do. I've been out twice this week, but only to the grocery store and back. I said I was going to give myself one more week to recuperate. I'm feeling terrific emotionally, physically, and mentally. What more could I ask for? Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you Monday, and we'll see you Sunday for some of you. Have a great night. Oh, and live button.